September the 1st, 2016. I've titled this presentation, As in the Days of Noah. I want to get into the basics of some witchcraft and deception that we are seeing in the days we are living in now, and go over some scripture that is related to it. First scripture, Genesis 6, verses 1 through 2. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives, of all which they chose. Second scripture, Genesis 6, 4 through 5. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God, or the fallen angels, came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men, of which were old, men of renown. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. These children that were born were called the Nephilim. Next scripture, Genesis chapter 1, verse 24. And God said, Let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing, and beast of the earth after his kind. And it was so. Let's look at this scripture. And God said, Let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, in his image. It was created without corruption before the fallen angels mated with the daughters of man. And we see a good example of this with Noah and his family. Noah and his family was the only family left with pure DNA. No corruption. After the fallen angels had mated with the daughters of man, there was evil continually, as we see in Scripture. Only Noah's family was pure. And that is when God brought the flood to wipe them away. Genesis chapter 8, verse 18. And Noah went forth, and his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives with him. Now we know that Noah's family was the only pure family left. So were the sons' wives pure? No, they weren't. So here we clearly see that God allowed these wives to go with Noah's sons anyway. So did the Nephilim totally get wiped out? No. They didn't. And are there Nephilim today? Yes. Let's look at some examples. First example, the Pleiadians. Second example, the Anunnaki. Third example, the reptilians. Fourth example, the Greys. All of these types of Nephilim or demons are to promote New Age. They communicate with people through channeling and visitation to promote achieving the ultimate ascension, going higher and higher, promoting that the power is within you. In the light, you will find truth. You will see what you did not see before. You will go where they told you you should not go. Even spreading the deception that Jesus was a Pleiadian, and so was his father. These aliens, or so-called demons, teach you these New Age techniques and ways so you can open yourself up to them. A lot of New Age teaching teaches you about the light. In the light you will find truth. Come into the light. Let's look at another scripture. 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 14. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. The Bible clearly tells us here that Satan comes as an angel of light. It looks pure. It looks good. But it's not. It's counterfeit. And the New Age is counterfeit. Satan makes it to look good. He makes it look pure, but it's counterfeit. As we have said before, some of these aliens, or so-called demons, communicate through channeling. What does the Bible say about that? Let's look at Scripture and see. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 31. Regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards, to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God. All psychics, channelers, and mediums work with familiar spirits. What are familiar spirits? They are demonic spirits. Those demonic spirits that are in them can communicate with other demonic spirits and other people. Familiar spirits allow these people to know the things that they know and allow them to do the things that they do. What is the definition of witchcraft? Witchcraft is to attract or delight someone in a way that seems magical. Does this kind of remind you of a psychic, of a medium, of someone who channels? Magical things that are done by witches. The use of magical powers obtained, especially from evil spirits. Once again, we see that this so-called service that these psychics and channelers and mediums are doing is all done by the power of these demonic spirits. Let's look at another scripture. 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 15. Therefore it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. I say again, let no man think me a fool. If otherwise, yet as a fool receive me, that I may boast myself a little. Here in 2 Corinthians chapter 15, the scripture is talking about that not only Satan himself can transform into an angel of light, but is there no greater thing if his ministers also be transformed as well? Once again, going back to psychics, mediums, channelers, aliens. It is all nothing but witchcraft. And what does the Bible say about witchcraft? 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 23. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is an iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he has also rejected him from being king. So once again, anything of a rebellious nature or any sins of witchcraft or witchcraft itself, stubbornness is a sin, is an iniquity, and idolatry. Any of these things will reject the word of the Lord and reject that Jesus is the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. We are living in a great time of witchcraft and deception. The Bible clearly tells us that in Scripture. And we are living in a time when many alien races will be introduced. We will be told that they are our creators. We will also be told that Jesus is not real. We will be told that we can become gods. And we will also be under a one world religion. Matthew verse 24 says, For thou shalt arise false Christ and false prophets, and shall shew great signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect.